Hello everyone, Decimus here. Today I'm bringing you a brand new Stamina Nightblade PvP build. This time around it's going to be a dual build one. So let's get started with the skills. On the first bar we have Ambush. This is your gap closer and it also helps with your burst damage by giving you Empower. And it's also used for comboing things like if you do Dark Cloak and then Ambush, it doesn't break the Dark Cloak and you can use Surprise Attack after that to stun the opponent. Stuns from Sneak or Stealth. It's a really common Nightblade combo. On the second slot we have Vigor. This is just the first of two abilities which keep you alive. Yeah, it's also a bit bigger because of the higher weapon damage and stamina this build is using. On third slot, Dark Cloak. This is the second of the two skills which keep you alive, and it's also used for nearly all the Nightblade combos you're going to do, like Cloak, Heavy Attack, cancelled with Surprise Attack, and the Ambush combo I mentioned before. And yeah, you can use it for escaping as well. On 4th slot we have Steel Tornado. This is mainly used for 1vx. You can combo it with Soul Tether or Ultimate in the second bar, or you can also use it just as an anti-Nightblade tool because it's an AoE and it often pops Nightblades out of stealth, so it's really useful. And 5th slot is Surprise Attack. This is your main damage dealing ability. You use every time you need to do single target damage. And on ultimate slot we have Flawless Dawnbreaker. This I very rarely use this ultimate, or actually use it. I mean, it's on the bar mainly just for the 8% increased weapon damage, but it can be useful sometimes against vampires. Okay, on the second bar we have Relentless Focus. I use this mostly just for the increased damage and to help with stamina recovery. I do sometimes use the bow skill as well, if it's procced. It's more often in duels, but yeah. On second slot, Mirage. Now this is an interesting choice because most people tend to use Double Take as Nightblade, but I think the problem with that skill is that as a Stamina Nightblade you can't really spam it. You have to spend your magicka using Cloak or Shadow Image, and for that reason I don't have that morph. I have the morph which gives me physical resistance and spell resistance for 26 seconds, as opposed to the 6 seconds of speed buff you could get. Okay, third slot, Shadow Image. This is an incredibly powerful skill in certain situations. I usually use it in duels as well, because it reduces damage taken, but where it shines is in escaping. If there's like a jerk behind you, you just drop a Shadow Image, run a bit to the other direction, and then juke them and use the image and cloak, and you're safe. Sometimes, usually. Fourth slot is Mass Hysteria. This just I use this sometimes for avoiding damage if there's multiple people hitting me, or for draining stamina if there's someone who's just holding block all the time. And I've also realized that now with the higher time to kill, people tend to actually run out of stamina in fights more often. Of course also the changes to blocking and dodging help with that, but it's overall I think more useful in this patch than it was before. On the 5th slot we have Flame Blade. This is here just to give you a ranged option. I actually liked it more in previous patch because it did more damage. It got nerfed by 10-20% or so in this patch, but it's still a good skill to have. You need some kind of ranged option. And it also gives you major brutality, so you don't need to use weapon damage potion every time. On ultimate slot here we have Soul Tether. This is an incredibly important part of the build. It really helps in 1vx situations where you have like say 5 enemies. You can just use the skill and then swap to other bar and use Steel Tornado, and because targets are already in execute range after Soul Tether, Steel Tornado is going to hit like a surprise attack and they're going to die very often. Okay, on the gear we have I have actually 2 setups. First one is using 3 parts of the shield breaker, gloves and boots and helm. I use divines on the small parts and infused on the large ones. The other sets are hunting's rage. I use sharpened mace and precise dagger. This is mainly just because I believe that one mace with sharpened gives you a good advantage versus heavy armor, whereas the precise dagger helps you with it increases the crit chance of your vigor heals, and anytime your opponent is not using a damage shield or blocking, it's of course going to help. And the enchants are disease damage. This is crucial. You need to put some kind of a heal debuff on opponent, and this is a good way of doing it. And the second weapon is more weapon damage. Same with the second bar, except I also have a crusher enchantment on second weapon, just so these don't overlap. They don't stack as far as I know, otherwise I'd have weapon damage here as well. Okay, then we have one piece of Molekina. These are well fitted, but I'd prefer with divines. But, I haven't been that lucky, so yep. The last set is agility. I have 3 of them and they're all enchanted with weapon damage, since this build is all about maximizing the efficiency of your skills, having them deal as much damage or heal as much as possible, so you don't need to spam them all the time. And yeah, I'm also using 1 light armor piece and 1 heavy armor piece for the Undaunted passive, Undaunted Metal, giving me more stamina and health and magicka. Which is all the more important because I am using buff food. Right, so the idea of the build is to have as much weapon damage and stamina as possible, and this is the gear which is going to help us accomplish that. I also use the shield breaker set just for 1 stamina recovery bonus. I feel that helps me a lot with sustain and make sure I don't run out of stamina so often. And you still deal a ton of damage with this setup, so it's okay. But the other stuff I use is with no shield breaker, but instead I use 3 pieces of Morak Tongue. So it's deals a little bit more damage, but has a bit less sustain. Okay, let's take a look at the stats. My stats are, with this gear they look like that, but I use shield breaker more often, so let's take a look now. So I have 18k magicka, 23.2k health outside Zero Deal. This is close to 31k, 32k with Emperor buff and Zero Deal buff. With just Zero Deal buff it's about 29k health or something like that. And stamina is 38.5k. Our magicka recovery is 611, health recovery or whatever. Stamina recovery is almost 1.1k. It's not a lot, but you're going to sustain with this build by heavy attacking instead of just relying on your regen. And you can actually afford heavy attacking because your vigor is much stronger and you have more health, and so you're less likely to be taken down while you're heavy attacking. So yeah, and this is our weapon damage, 3.6k unbuffed. This goes close to 5k if you're like fully buffed, or it's about 5k I think, precisely. Our crit is 46.3% with this bar, and the other is 48.3. A bit less weapon damage because I don't have Flawless Dawnbreaker there. Let's take a look at the passives. I think that you should just get all of them, but I understand that some people don't have enough skill points for all of them, so I'll just tell you what you should have. And that is all the class passives. And Fighter's Guild, because they help against vampires. Mage's Guild is not that important, you can just forget these, we don't use any of them. Undaunted, this is important. If you don't have Undaunted metal, I suggest you go with 7 pieces of medium armor instead of mixing in 1 light armor and 1 heavy armor. And if you can get Combat Frenzy, it's very good. And these Assault passives, these aren't as important, except maybe Battle Resurrection and Combat Magic, but Magic Guide is useless. And Racial passives are very important. And then you need, of course, Armor passives, all of them if you use Light and Heavy. And Weapon passives from Dual Wield. Now if you have more skill points, I suggest also getting the medicinal use, which makes your potion stronger, as well as gourmand and, well, just gourmand because we use food. It just makes it last longer, and our food we use is Beer 15 food, dry food. Okay, the potion we use is, I have actually several of them. One is the most common is the tripod. Quite self-explanatory, it's just very good potion. Second is, if there's a Nightblade that's stealthing around, you can use Detection Potion. It also makes you immune to fear and other stance, and it's really good to have. The third potion is Essence of Speed. Sometimes I use this before a fight, if there's some people I think that I might not be able to burst down. Then I use Essence of Speed and I have a bigger chance of killing them because my weapon damage is increased, and if I don't kill them, well, I can just escape more easily. And this also makes the choice of going for Mirage instead of Double Take make more sense. Right, let's move on to champion points. No, I have a lot of champion points. 942 at the time of this recording. Going from most important to least important. I think for blue points you want to put first 100 points into Mighty. No questions asked. After that, Precise Strikes. Now it gets interesting, you can go either Piercing or Blade Expert. Both are very good and useful. Yeah, after that, if you still have points, you can go for Blessed. I have a couple here just as an experiment. But I think these are more important for this build. For breakpoints, first 100 points I think you should spend in Resistant. Decrease all damage you take from crits. Then after that it's between Hardy and Elemental Defender. They make you really tanky against magic builds. And after that you can go either for Thick Skinned or Quick Recovery. Both are really useful and help with this build. And for the green points, I think first of all you should put points into, well, either Mooncalf or Warlord. They are both important for the build. And after that you can put a couple points here and a couple points here before diminishing returns kick in, because these are really useful passives. And Dumpling is also something you want to put points on. It's hard to evaluate these passives, they are all quite useful. Yeah, that's how I've spent points. And yeah, I think that wraps it up. Thanks for watching, and I hope this has been useful for you. And see you next time.